Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello, lovers of the beautiful game. And of course, hello to the beloved millions
I got to do it the way you're doing it. And millions.
of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is episode 255. And yeah, it's going to be a painful and a tough one. But together we're going to get through this, much like we have the past 254 times. My name is Philly, and I assume most of you know me by now. If you don't, that's okay. I refer to myself as the platinum-colored haired flamingo, mainly because if I didn't dye it, I'd probably be the silver-haired flamingo. Regardless, I'm not really in the mood for too much jovial, funny verbiage, which is sort of what I guess I've known for. But before I introduce my partner in pod, I want to say a couple of quick things. I feel everything that y'all are feeling right now. We've grown quite accustomed to celebrating and being jovial together and loving life. Today, tomorrow, and at the very least until the next match, we mourn together. And I haven't felt the sting of this kind of a loss in quite some time. And I mean, that's a testament to the way our club has been performing. That's for certain. But this is certainly the other end of it. This is where football can be cruel. And today I feel your anger, feel your pain, your frustrations, your sadness, and your tears. All of these are raw emotions pouring from my scarred soul that bleeds black and gold. Today, let us mourn together. In our pain, hopefully we find our faith. Now that I have that off my chest, I'd like to introduce one of the closest people in my life. One of, if not my best damn friend in the whole world. You don't get to choose the family that you're born into, but I can certainly choose the family that I want. And there is no one that I want as a brother with me right now to commiserate with. I love this human being. The man we all know lovingly and refer to as La Bufanda. I give you my dear brother and bestest friend, J.R. Liebert.
It's the scarf. And Philly, I love you, buddy. And I do love working with this man to my direct, I think, left. If you're watching us on the YouTubes, if you're just listening to us, he's in Burbank and I'm in Lawndale. So we're not really on each other's left and right. But what else I love about working with this guy, because there's a lot of things, is the way that we take these hard losses. And I want to share something with you guys, the way that we both decided to process this, because both of us were pissed. Both of us were feeling all the feels. And final whistle sounded, and I look over at Philly, and he's like, all right, I'm out. I don't want to watch teams celebrate on our pitch. Totally get that. I don't want to watch these guys celebrate in our stands. I'm going home. And I think you made it home in 25 minutes, something like that. Like it was
no traffic.
Good time. I chose the opposite end of the spectrum. I chose to sit there, and I don't know why, but I chose to watch the Leon supporters, of which they came out in great number today. I was very impressed. Best away support we've ever had at BMO. I chose to watch the trophy presentation. And more importantly, I chose to watch the players from LAFC and how they reacted, right? And at the end of the match, and they zoomed in on this, our good buddy Joe, working the camera right in front of us, zoomed in on Timothy Tillman with tears in his eyes. Zoomed in on John McCarthy standing next to Maxime Crepeau on the goal line in front of the North End, just watching Leon celebrate. And I'm reminded that as absolutely crappy as these 180, almost 200 total minutes, including stoppage time, wound up being, what LAFC did for the majority of the time was somewhat bafflingly, even though we got outplayed from almost minute 1 through minute 200, they did give us hope. They did give us hope. Unfortunately, they didn't give us a result.
It's the hope that kills you.
It is the hope that makes this all that much more painful. But it's painful for these guys too. Yeah, we got outplayed. And sometimes, and I'm going to use the way that Philly says it because I love the way he says it. Sometimes you have to tip your cap off to the other team, to the other club. And with all due respect, I know all the chicanery and the ridiculousness today. I've never seen a player get stretchered off at BMO before. Today I saw 2. I've never seen a player writhe in pain from zero contact whatsoever on the opposing team. And we saw it 3 or 4 times. But put all that stuff aside, because let's be honest, you knew Leon was going to do that. We've seen it before. That's not a surprise. Put aside everything else. We got outplayed. We got outplayed for 180, almost 200 minutes. And if not for Denny Bawanga and a beautifully strung together play at the very tail end of what was a 15-round knockout heavyweight fight, and we lost, we would have had much hope at all going into this match. So I just want to say thank you to our club for giving us hope. But more importantly, before I turn it back over to Philly, I was wrong in every single prediction I had for this 2-legged final. Every single one by a factor of a bunch, except for one. And Philly and I were talking about this before the match, and I said, what I am sure of today is the 32-52 is going to bring it, the likes of which we may have never seen before. And they absolutely did. And several times throughout the match, I do want to applaud the rest of the 22,430 some odd, I think they said, for joining in as well. And I'll talk about one of those times here. But Philly, for now, we got to trudge through some pain.
We do. And much to your point, Leon was the better team. Steve said during his press conference at the conclusion of the game that, it wasn't about tactics as much as it was about moments. And they created the one moment that led to our downfall. We got lucky because there were a lot of other moments that got created that really could have led to our downfall and demise even earlier on than that. In between, though, the times they were being stretchered off for, lack of intestinal fortitude, they certainly played together very well. They strung passes together. They were offensive. And again, at points, they were jugadores. And then at one point when they were lying on the ground, they were luchadores. So for the purpose of this podcast, I'm going to refer to them as the Leon luchadores because the amount of times they were writhing in pain in the silliest of ways, getting stretchered off. And then I don't know if you caught this, Chiellini helping up the stretchered player off of Leon. Yeah. The one individual, I'm not sure if it was Romero or not, who had the diving cap on, which is perfect because, Leon obviously showed their diving team today. That was that bit. And it should have been a much longer mask. That's what gave me the idea of, the luchadores. But they were certainly the jugadores. And they beat us, and deservedly so. I can't say that I've seen LAFC play 2 consecutively miserable games like this since that one stretch that we had over a year ago. And we've certainly been spoiled with the way that this team has been playing. We had our sights set high. We had our expectations that were through the roof. Last time we were in the Concacaf Champions League, we were really happy to be there. This time around, we felt like we belonged and that we deserved to win. But we definitely did not deserve to win. We could hold our heads up high because we made it as far as we did. And we're the only MLS team to make it to the Concacaf Champions League twice in this format. But it doesn't make it any better to lose. And I don't know how you feel about this, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it towards the conclusion, but I haven't felt this miserable leaving Exposition Park since that loss in the Western Conference Finals to the Seattle Sounders back in 2019. That was a game that just was a spike to the heart. This one in particular for me, though, was not only a spike to the heart, but a kick to the junk.
Yeah, let's be very clear. This is the worst I have ever felt after a loss, period. This is the worst I've ever felt after an LAFC loss. I've watched the Mets lose the World Series.
Yeah.
And it didn't hurt like this. I've watched the Lakers lose championships. I've watched LMU airball a layup to go to the NCAA tournament. That's like a blind squirrel stumbling upon a golden acorn, by the way, and they didn't do it.
Airballing a layup. Yeah, I can't say.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything like that since like CYO.
Guy's 7 feet tall, Philly, and he airballed a layup. I've
Ugh.
never hurt like this. This sucks. Like, this sucks because we had so much hope. Even down 1-0, everybody in the stands was like, all right, we just got to find one. We got to find our way back in. And we'll get there. Want to make sure we do hit a couple of quick things. Don't forget, guys, as jovial as we are tonight, we want to remind you guys that we are sponsored by Flex Power Tools. Flex, the official front of kit sponsor for your Los Angeles Football Club. We are still the MLS defending champion and Supporter Shield defending winner. Let's not forget that. And let's, by the way, turn our sights very quickly to that. But we are also part of the Flex family here at Defenders of the Bank. Please head on over to Flex Power Tools for every power tool need that you might have. And remember, everything but the box comes with a full lifetime warranty. Through 2023 with every purchase, you get that full lifetime warranty. So if you have any questions about Flex Power Tools, hit us up. They also have radios and work lights and all kinds of great stuff. So please, 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 we love being part of the Flex family. If you have any questions, please hit us up. And I've come up with a couple of ideas. Philly and I are going to talk about this. We are really going to work on the fundraising effort for the Mauricio Facio futsal court. It is still underway. Please go to LAFC.com/Mo-Facio to donate whatever number it is that you would like to donate. We would love for you to donate. You know what? Today, Philly, I don't even have a number. It hurts. So what I'll say is donate till it doesn't hurt anymore. Donate till you feel better, like you've done something amazing, because you will have if you donate to the Mo Facio Futsal Court Fund. LAFC.com/Mo-Facio.
I don't have this kind of money to donate, but if I were to pick a number, I would pick 3,252, because if there's anything that we can say is that, you know, who showed up today?
Yeah.
LAFC, the players on the pitch.
Yeah.
J-Mac showed up today. But the 3252 certainly showed up today.
Incredible.
That Mortal Kombat tifo, the smoke, the fireworks going off, all that. I mean, that was, I'm glad we caught that on video. That was some of the coolest anything I've seen ever at BMO. And we've seen a lot of incredible things. The Carlos Vela with the Indiana Jones tifo, the Freddie Mercury tifo, the welcome to the Paradise City Guns N' Roses tifo. We've seen the Mandalorian tifo with the not so kind words.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mandalore to enter my
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. This one, I mean, it totally outdid themselves. It was on the pitch and near the pitch, by far the greatest moment of the game. A moment in which we were all just on our feet. I mean, the hairs on my arm, and there are many of them, were rising, and I was just excited, nervous, all the above. The moment itself hit me with that. I mean, that was incredible. So yeah, we'll just say $3,252. But after I paid my mortgage, it'd be more likely the $32.52.
Hey, you know what?
Desperate times call for desperate measures, Scarf.
$32.52 would be incredible. I do also look, for as crappy as the 100 or so minutes were of the match, it was an incredible atmosphere out on Christmas Tree Lane. We were there as early as 8:30. There were SGs that were there before we were, and it wound up being a giant party. There was a banda there for pretty much the entire time. The food, again, at Christmas Tree Lane, given out by the 3252, or for a donation to help out their SGs. It's absolutely incredible. Going into the stadium today, I mean, look, we got to say hi to probably three of the most famous figures in Premier League right now, with Isaac McAdoo, Thierry Zorro, and Colin Hughes all being there from AFC Richmond. There were so many wonderful things about today that I will take home, but this is a rough one. Let's get into a very quick Philly news and notes and an Angel City minute. We'll check in on LAFC too, and then we'll rip the Band-Aid off. We'll just get right into it. Want to know your thoughts, Philly, on a couple of comments on social media that were liked about selling Jose Cifuentes while we can, because of his play recently and because of rumors that were going on, there were a lot of comments on social media saying we got to sell Sifu. Sifu's out. Sifu's not playing well. And by the way, he's not. But the issue I have, Philly, is that those comments were liked by Jose Cifuentes.
We know how quickly the fan base can turn on players. I mean, Mark Anthony Kaye at one point was one of the most beloved players on LAFC. By the time he left, not so much. Not so much. Tyler Miller, certainly loved for the 2 seasons that he was here. But when he came back as a member of Minnesota United, the people didn't take too kindly to him being back. And I know he took that very personal because we spoke to him. I think it was during the All-Star game. He really took that to heart. He was actually quite stunned as to how he was received. And he should have really been received in the way that he was. That wasn't fair. Right. But Jose Cifuentes, he's not started out the season as positively as he has these past 2 seasons. I mean, you could tell that he's had one foot out the door. We know that he's had conversations. His agent has had conversations in Europe. And we know he wants to be there. So let him go. Let him be. And we could move him while we can. Look, I love Cifuentes. I'm always going to thank every single member that was on our team in 2022. When we won. All of those boys deserve our love and praise because they did something for us that was incredible. They brought home an MLS Cup. So they will forever have my respect. And Sifu has had plenty of moments. But let's face it, he strung that unbelievable pass to Mahala. If Mahala would have connected with Denny, or if he would have reacted quicker and not gotten stonewalled by Kota, now we're looking at a tie game. And that would have never happened had it not been for that incredible pass by Cifuentes. Yeah. Regardless of where he goes, if it's in the Scottish Premier League, if it's La Liga, if it's wherever, it doesn't matter. He will always have my respect and appreciation for his contributions as a member of the Black and Gold. But it is time for him to go, because the longer he sticks around with us, and if our club obviously doesn't perform in the manner that it should, and he's a part of that, his equity goes down. He's a young player, plays for his international club. There's plenty of upside. But if you can't string together a couple of consecutive positive performances in Major League Soccer, it's only going to make people over there, across the pond, or across the land and the pond, being in Los Angeles, think twice about signing him to their roster. I say he goes off to that Scottish Premier League as soon as he can, so he can be happy and play to the level that we know he's capable of, and we can move on and just fill in the spaces within the midfield that we need to fill.
Yeah, quick reminder, this kid came over at 20 years old from Ecuador, played 4 seasons so far for LAFC, came over in 2020 in the middle of COVID. And as a 20-year-old away from your family during some pretty scary times in the world, he acclimated himself very, very quickly to not just, obviously, LAFC and professional football, but to Los Angeles, to being a part of this great city and this great community. Before he came to LAFC, everybody, I just want to remind you, before he came to LAFC, he was A, teenager, and B, he had played exactly 25 professional matches in his career. 25. And obviously some of those being done very, very early in his career as a teenager. And so we have watched a player literally grow up before our very eyes. I believe this is his either 113th or 114th appearance in Black and Gold. He played 25 matches before that. And again, almost all of them as a teenager. So I want to appreciate him. You're absolutely right, though, when you say sometimes you can tell it may be time to go. But Jose, stop liking tweets or social media posts about people saying it's time to sell you. I would much rather you go out there and say, until they rip the jersey off from me or until I'm transferred to another club, my heart is Black and Gold, because that's what we want to hear, Sifu. But you know what? We're paying you well. You've made a name for yourself here. You will go down as one of the best midfielders we've had through our first 6 years. And look, it's just going to be another reason for Philly and I to keep track of another team across the pond. So hopefully it happens soon. It was just not a good look that you're liking tweets. Philly, we may need some help on the back line and quickly, with Sergi Palencia and Aaron Long both going down from injury. I don't know if it's an option. I don't know how much tread is left on the tires, But Minnesota United just waived Daniil Henry. A thought? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. He was black and gold for 7 minutes, right? I don't know. What you got?
If that, did we even see Daniil Henry? I don't recall seeing Daniil Henry ever. I mean, there's been players that have been on our roster that have never seen the light of day throughout regulation. James Murphy being one of them. We saw more of him with Monterey Bay. Never really got to see much of Callum Malice. We never got to see much of Philip Ejimadu. Didn't get to see much of Javi Perez. Didn't get to see much of a lot of other players. But Daniil Henry, nah, man. Sergi Palencia, he did come off, and I didn't see when he did take the knock. But I mean, he was seen with crutches. He could not put pressure or weight on his leg. And then Aaron Long, you couldn't tell. The 22,400 and change that were there, couldn't tell. Certainly couldn't tell until we got home and watched the replay. That collision that he had, I believe it was with Romero.
Yeah.
He got bloodied, man. Absolutely bloodied. So if anything, they're going to have to observe him for some kind of concussion protocol. I mean, I don't think it's very likely that we're going to see him on Wednesday against Atlanta United.
No, dude, for obvious reasons. Put his head back together.
Yeah. But on a bright note, we did see Giorgio Chiellini. And unlike the trolling tweet by Hercules Gomez, I would say he played a pretty good 45 minutes.
He did.
He used his smarts rather than his athleticism, and he made a lot of really great plays and took care of a lot of great scenarios in which it could have led into terrible positioning for us going into the locker room. Probably he was trolling, but there's no way that Giorgio Chiellini had as bad of a first half as Hercules Gomez alluded to on Twitter.
Yeah, no, not at all.
He's still bitter about getting blocked by the Galaxy.
I think they re-added him, right? Is what I heard. I don't even know.
That's because they fired their. Didn't they fire their admin? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, they should have. I just want to remind you, Daniil Henry started 3 games for us, sir. How dare you not remember his first half 45-minute start against Orange County Soccer Club? How dare you?
My bad.
He did play a full 90 for us once. He played. We won 2-0 on March 12th, 2022, against Inter Miami, and he played all 90 minutes. Picked up a yellow card in the 88th minute. I do want to say
you'll have to forgive me. I normally do a deep dive, but not on Daniil Henry.
No, you don't need to. Don't worry, I got it. Very impressed with his efficiency of picking up yellow cards. In less than 175 minutes of play, he picked up 3 yellow cards. So, all right, we're probably not going to bring back Daniil Henry anytime soon. Philly, really quickly, Angel City Minute. They have not played another match since we last went through Angel City, but they definitely made some news this week, signing French national team midfielder Amandine Henry, formerly of Powerhouse Olympique Lyonnais. It's a big get for Angel City Football Club for sure, and pairing her with Julie Ertz, it's going to make the midfield quite formidable and far more interesting than it was a couple of matches ago, but she won't be able to come over until June 28th in the transfer window. And that's where we'll be tomorrow. ACFC playing Chicago Red Stars at BMO Monday, June 5th. And of course, that match will mark the return of Kerry Recaro. That's our Angel City Minute. Philly, I got to watch LAFC 2 lose to Dynamo 2-0. That's a lot of twos at Titan Stadium on Saturday, June 3rd. Another costly turnover by Noah Dollenmeyer, passing the ball directly to the Houston Dynamo, gifted them a goal. And then Javen Romero picked up his second yellow, which equals 1 red in the 88th minute, stifled any chance at a comeback. So unfortunately 2-0. They are still looking for a home victory. Their next match is back at home Saturday, June 11th, 4:30 p.m. against the Rapids 2.
Tomorrow.
They're playing tomorrow?
We're going to we're going to BMO tomorrow. Remember Concacaf Champions League rescheduled them? There's a game tomorrow.
I was talking about LAFC 2 just now.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was back on. I was still thinking Angel City. I had something I wanted to say. I was just like, now I know. Now, I mean, the sting of being an LAFC fan is similar to that of being an Angel City supporter, leaving the bank with a loss. It's too soon to say that. Sorry. Yeah, that was rough.
Oh,
sorry
you owe $5 in the jar, sir.
What'd I say?
Leaving the bank with a loss.
Whatever. $5 well regarded. My apologies. I didn't mean to overstep you. I was just trying to be funny in a moment of depression.
Now, you know what we have to do? We just have to rip the damn Band-Aid off and get on it. Look, we came in down 2-1 on aggregate, but the way these things work, it doesn't matter how many you score at home, how many you score away. It just matters how many you score total. And us being down 2-1 means that we needed to get at least one to send it to PKs. And if we got two and they didn't get any, hey, we're off to the races. Unfortunately, Philly, we never got out of the starting gate.
We almost did. We almost did, Scarf. We almost did. Yeah. We should, we talking lineups right now? You pointing to me to start with LAFC? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, you want to look. It's far more interesting of a lineup than anything Leon threw out there. So why don't you start out with that one? You already alluded to it. My boy was back for at least the first half.
Kind of interesting, like looking at the lineup and seeing the insertion of Kellen Acosta and Giorgio Chiellini in a formation that, well, we haven't seen very often, at least not from a starting game perspective. Obviously, things morph into different formations, and we're not always 4-3-3, but it was interesting to see a 5-2-3 formation going in. And Steve is starting to get those lessons from John Thornton, being exceptionally cryptic and being able to hide information very well, because we were under the impression that, well, we wouldn't see Giorgio Chiellini, but we did. But before we get to the back line, goalkeeper of the Concacaf Champions League, we have him, yes, that's right, from Philadelphia himself, John McCarthy in between the pipes, Sergi Palencia, Jesus David Murillo, now back because no more yellow card accumulation and no injury. Giorgio Chiellini, which was, I would say that certainly added a lot of pep to our step initially. Aaron Long, Cheeky Palacios. In the middle, very thin, with that of Ilie Sanchez, and welcome back Kellen Acosta. And up top, no surprise, Carlos Vela. In the middle, no surprise, Denis Bouanga. And maybe a mild surprise on the other end, Mati Bogusz. On our bench, we had Eldon, we had Daniil, Stipe, Tillman, who I would say after this game is probably eating his words about Mexican teams not playing very tactically.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he set us off out of bad precedent. I'm not going to say that was the first domino to fall, but I'm sure he's reconsidering those words. Danny Crisostomo, Eric Dueñas, Jose Cifuentes, Ryan Hollingshead, Nathan Ordaz, and Julian Gaines, and both coming off less than 24 hours worth of rest, having played with LAFC 2 on the campus of Cal State Fullerton against the Houston Dynamo just 23 short hours ago.
Yeah, man, I kind of wonder if Nathan Ordaz, Danny Crisostomo, and Julian Gaines were actually available. I watched them play just the night before. I don't know. I mean, Nathan Ordaz, those kids are young, so maybe, but
they recover, bro.
It must be nice. It was an interesting lineup for sure. You had mentioned it, right? Essentially 3 new starters with Kellen Acosta, Giorgio Chiellini, and Jesus Murillo, and not new starters, right? These guys are starters, but then also starting Sergi Palencia, also starting Mati Bogusz. I'm just going to throw out the question. We don't need to necessarily answer it, but I would be curious to know what the Black and Gold faithful feel about. My take is the potential that maybe we tinkered a little too much with the initial starting lineup, whether in terms of new bodies or new formation or both. Maybe we tried to throw the entire kitchen sink out right at the outset, and we didn't really have a second play in terms of a way to kind of switch things up if that didn't work, although it did work for about the first 20 minutes. We'll talk about that in just a second. I'm just curious to know what everybody thinks out there. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you want to comment on. My question is this: were there too many changes and too much tinkering with the formation all at the same time? Or are these guys world-class professional athletes and they should have been able to figure out, and they've probably been training with it for a lot longer? Maybe you'd have to ask everybody who's been at training. Just a thought I had, Philly. That's all.
I don't have to tweet you or DM you. I would say the second part of what you said.
Okay. All right. Got it. All right. Let's get into Nicolas Larcamon's starting 11 for Leon. And there's the article on The Athletic right now about Nicolas Larcamon and his coaching style and where he's come from and what he's like. Watch these last 2 matches and then read the article. It was a very well written, very well done article.
Agreed.
And it's, the dude is 38 years old. He's, dare I say, because I sort of missed the Ted Lasso series already, kind of a wonderkind, right? He's young. He is Timothy Tillman. He is a tactical coach in Liga MX. He is a very good tactician. It's an incredible article on The Athletic about Nicolas Larcamon. Please read it if you have access to The Athletic. If you don't, I'll call you and read it to you. I don't know. Here's the formation. Goalkeeper Rodolfo Cota, who certainly had a little more work to do today than he did in Leon. 5 in the back, according to one of the formations that we saw. Ivan Moreno, Captain William Tecillo, Adonis Frias, Jaime Barrero, and Elias Hernandez, who was a new starter in the 11. Angel Mena, Lucas Romero, and Fidel Ambris as the midfield, and the 2 up top were Victor Davila and the new addition to the starting lineup, Lucas Diorio. More on him in a little bit. Philly, the announced attendance was 22,413, and I can tell you they weren't all in their seats by the second minute, when LAFC should have absolutely been up 1-0 in the match and level on aggregate. And who knows, Philly, less than 2 minutes in, we could have seen the entire match flipped on its head. Denny Bawanga giving a perfect cross into the box after Cheeky was sprung beautifully. And look, we'll use a baseball term here. He whiffed it. He absolutely, and this is Denny Bawanga, guys. This is the guy who got us here with all the goals. Golden Boot winner of the tournament, 7 goals. And unfortunately, Denny missed one.
Yeah. And I mean, right as he did that, I mean, the energy inside the building was just tremendous.
Unreal.
I mean, it started out tremendously with the performance that Concacaf put on initially. Obviously, the Tifo, which we had mentioned, and the Tifo was the stuff of legend. But I mean, the problem obviously is it's always going to be tied into one of the worst losses we've had at BMO. So that kind of sucks. But you had Coach Beard and Jaime Camille walking out with the trophy. You thought that energy was there. Dr. Dre was in the building. I mean, whoa, Dr. Dre. I mean, no Snoop sightings. We certainly had Snoop in the building, but I'm sure Dr. Dre was like, wow, how did I miss out on this for a couple of years? And
yeah, but Dre's not like Snoop, Philly. Snoop has showed up to every football stadium and every jersey that we've ever seen ever. Dre showed up to this. That's pretty sick, dude. Dr. Dre, like, he doesn't make appearances like this just for fun.
No, I mean, I saw him like during the Super Bowl, like for the Rams, but never anything like this. And like that was pretty cool. Had Denny converted, because you said it, an uncharacteristic whiff, this game would have been completely turned on its head. Coming out of the gates that hard, we weren't even in like the 2 minute. I think we were just barely 2 minutes into the game when that happened. Denny puts that past Cota. All of a sudden now Leon's like, what the hell just happened? What the hell just hit us? Now we're playing with a little, pizzazz and swagger. And I don't think we lose this game. I think we win the whole damn thing had Denny converted right there. But football was a cruel mistress. We came out of the gates hot, pressing, doing our thing, trying to cause as much chaos to Leon as they caused to us down in Leon, 6,000 feet above sea level. 11th minute. I don't know if you had anything prior to that, but it was a beautiful header in the box by Carlos Vela, and Long heads it, but unfortunately it's out of play. There was no way in Jupiter, heavens to Murgatroyd, if I'm going to quote the great, I think it's Snaggletooth, the pink cartoon from the Wacky Races. There's no way Cota would have made that save, but Danny Bawanga nearly getting a goal. Carlos Vela nearly assisting initially, and those were a couple of opportunities that we probably could have converted. One was just off by mere inches. The other one was just, swing and a miss.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, too. What worked was the formation change, right? What worked is that LAFC came out in something that I don't think Leon was expecting. And for the first 15 minutes, we dominated play. I completely agree. Philly, we had a set piece from about 25 yards out in the 13th minute. And then about 15 minutes in, Leon got a corner. And then Leon got another set piece in the 18th minute. They kind of slowed the ball down a little bit. Then that sequence, man, and I didn't go back to watch it. It was just dumb on both of their players' parts. It was, I forget who and I should have it right here on my notes and I apologize, but I forget who the Leon player was that got the yellow along with Cheeky. But 21st minute,
that was clown shit. That's where the luchador aspect came in.
It was one of those things, or 19th minute, I should say, is when they called the yellow card, but it was right around 20. It was
18th, actually.
Steven Barrero and Cheeky Palacios were the two that got the yellow. And it was just silly. It was like stupid posturing stuff, right? Like, I don't care what's being said at that point. I need a little bit more composure from Cheeky Palacios. I will say this. I thought if they come out with their team of the tournament and Cheeky Palacios is not on it, then they're doing it wrong. Cheeky Palacios was incredible for us in this tournament. I absolutely loved everything that Cheeky Palacios brought to the table. And most matches, we didn't say anything about Cheeky Palacios because he just did his damn job. I thought it was a silly yellow, 19th minute, double yellows on both Steven Borrero and Cheeky Palacios. And then just all hell breaks loose in the 21st minute. And I think, Philly, if you and I are able to sit down and ask John McCarthy about the goal, he will tell you that it was soft and he should have saved it. And I don't know what happened in front of goal, Philly, but it wasn't good. And all of a sudden we're down 1-0.
And then even before that, man, I mean, we ended up in obviously, in that lousy spot. I mean, some defensive absent-mindedness. I'd say we got carved up on that sequence worse than a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Ivan Moreno had enough space to park a fleet of Hummers in the box. He just happens to connect positively with Lucas Diorio and can't exactly say he smashed the stitches out of the ball. J-Mac did get a hand on it, but alas, that was the first goal of the game, and you really felt the wind come out from underneath our sails at that point. Not that the 32-52 stopped being loud, but we all were like, I can't believe this just happened, especially after we had a couple of nice chances. I don't think anybody would have foresaw this. Like, maybe we were overly ambitious thinking we would come in and win 3-0 again, and I'll be the first to admit that mistake. But I did not foresee Leon scoring before us. I just didn't think this team would allow that to happen. And yeah, it was a soft goal. John did get a hand on it. And in an uncharacteristic way, he saves that 9 out of 10 times. It just so happened that 1 out of 10 puts us in a scenario where now we're down 2 goals on aggregate, and that just sucks, for lack of a better term.
And you watch in front of John McCarthy, right? Aaron Long was drawn so far out that Chiellini kind of tracked in, right, to try and be in the area, cut off an angle, do whatever you might. And that's great if we're playing 4 in the back, but I think the issue is that Sergei Palencia was also there in the back and maybe shielded off John McCarthy a little bit. I don't know. You'd have to ask John. You'd have to ask Sergei. You'd have to ask Chiellini. But it definitely was an uncharacteristic missed opportunity on the save there for John McCarthy, a player who, if he doesn't turn into a human octopus against Leon in the first leg, we're down 4-0, 5-0, and this entire sequence today at BMO is nothing more than a eulogy and a funeral. So I got to say, John was incredible in that first leg, and he still made a couple of key plays today. I think this was the only one where we needed him to make it, and unfortunately, he didn't do it, and I feel awful for him. I didn't know, Philly, that after Leon scored, that the referees allowed Leon to kick the ball off again. Right? They scored. I thought we lined up to kick the ball off, but then what in the hell happens as we kick the ball off? Literally, Leon just takes it from us and goes right back down the other way, stole the ball right back, put it right back into the box, and the shot just wide across the mouth of goal. And we're sitting there like, guys, I know that now we have to play a little bit more on the front foot, but we need the ball in order to do so. We literally, it was as if Nina turned to me and she goes, wait, did they let Leon kick off? It was awful.
We got lucky, man. I mean, Ilie got beat, as did Murillo. And we were lucky that their leading scorer, Victor Davila, his shot went wide.
Yeah.
That first goal by Diorio, like that set a tone. It knocked us pretty hard. We're lucky to not be down by another. But then 3 minutes after that, Ilie and Moody get beat again. And another shot by Davila just misses to the right. And I'm scratching my head going, oh my God, like maybe this will turn in our favor because we're lucky that neither of those connected. If you go back and watch the replays, they were oh so close. It was a matter of inches, if not centimeters, millimeters. I don't know. Pick your unit of measure. But that was close, and we were lucky on there. 27th minute, bro. Denny tried to create a chance for himself, but let's just say he was a bit too ambitious and just, off the mark. But I mean, you love the gumption behind the Gabonese captain, but nothing happened there.
You've used Murgatroyd and gumption so far today. Did you stumble into like a 1950s dictionary? What just happened here? I like it.
These are words I pulled off that cartoon, like Wacky Races. The one with that dog Muttley that every time he does something bad, he goes.
Yeah, no, it's
that's where it came from.
Wasn't Heavens to Murgatroyd?
Snagglepuss, Snaggletooth. Right? He was a Pink Panther or whatever kind of thing, but he was a wacky racer. He came from that. This is a cartoon that's even older than Scarf and I, if you can believe it.
Snagglepuss, for sure.
Exit stage right.
Oh, guys, we're delirious. 29th minute. It was a swept leg of Carlos Vela that gave us a beautiful set piece opportunity. And I put in my notes, we need some magic right here. We're 29 minutes in. We're down a goal. We're down 2 goals on aggregate. This would be the perfect time. Maybe a Carlos curler over the wall, a Denis Bouanga rocket. Unfortunately, Denis got the shot blocked by the wall, and we wouldn't have many other good opportunities until like the 41st minute. Ilie picks up what seemed to be a pretty soft yellow in the 32nd minute. We earned a corner in the 35th, couldn't do anything with it. And Leon again, 39th minute? First of all, anytime a player from Leon started to feel contact, they were down for about a minute and a half. From here on out, we're like 38, 39 minutes in. But another set piece played very well by Leon, sent into the box. The header, it wasn't a dangerous header. He didn't get much on it. It went right to John McCarthy, but still it's one of those things where they executed much better on their set pieces than we did.
Their set piece defense was also pretty darn good because they didn't really allow us, too much in there. I mean, Carlos had a free kick in the 43rd minute. He kicked it way above the crossbar. I was somewhat disappointed in Carlos's performance. He almost had an assist.
Kellen missed frame just right before that, right? Like that was that was probably our best.
Oh yeah, 42nd minute. Yeah. Carlos had that. He had a ball that was headed out by Leon in the box, if I'm not mistaken, and then Ilie manages to scoot it, whatever verb you want to use, gets it to Murillo, and then Acosta just missed. I mean, there's another prime opportunity with a game changer heading into the locker room if we connect, but there's that cruel and hurtful mistress again called football. Yeah. Not on our side.
Yeah. 3 minutes of stoppage, not much happened, to be perfectly honest. We go into half, down 2 goals, 3-1 on aggregate, and frustrated, upset, looking for answers, hoping that maybe we can tinker, do something. It's clear that at this point, right, the 5-3-2, 5-2-3, whatever it's morphing into, it's clear that's not really working all that much right now. It's clear that we played a card and Larcamon played his Uno reverse card right back on us after that. And we go into the half looking for answers, looking for offense, down 1-0 and needing to make some changes. So we did.
Yep, we started the second half with 2 new subs into the game. In comes Sifu, in comes Mahala, out comes Mati, out comes Chiellini. So now we're switching things up, going back to old reliable in terms of the midfield. Got beat in that midfield. We only had Kellen and Ilie. Now we bring in another midfield, and that is Sifu. And so hopefully that sparks a little bit of spark something within LAFC's attack. But then 5 minutes into the game, second half that is, we nearly conceded again.
Yeah.
Tessio, the pain in the rear captain of Leon, had a header that just missed. Long, though, prevented. I forget who it was that he was running with, but Long just boxed whoever that was out, because that right there, even though it was kind of going wide, I mean, had Long not been in there, there's a tap, tap, tap-roo, to quote the movie Happy Gilmore. And then we find ourselves down yet again. I mean, there were so many instances in which Leon could have easily blown this game out of proportion. I mean, we called like 3 potential goals after the first one in the 20th minute. We're lucky at this point. There is some kind of like, saving graces coming from that mistress. No, bad things result from mistresses, never good things. And yes, the mistress was cruel today.
I thought you were going to say, yes, you're speaking from experience. I was like, what am I missing right now? What's happening?
No mistresses, man.
Sir.
I'm too tired for all that stuff. Plus,
No,
I love
sir.
Panda more than anything, and I do everything with Panda.
Look, 51st minute, Mahala starts making his presence known. He had a great buildup. He earned ourselves a free kick from just outside the top of the box, right side of the box. You're thinking, all right, cool. This is another spot where Carlos bends it over the wall, or we find a back post header by, I don't know, Ryan Hollingshead wasn't in the match at this point. More on him in just a minute, but somebody who can find it back post, something creative here. Nope, Carlos Vela bangs it off the wall and then cleats a guy accidentally, but still got a yellow for it, trying to keep possession. So our set pieces right now have been atrocious. They will get better. Don't worry. We'll get there.
And they have been better.
Not good enough, but so frustrating seeing Denny and Carlos so inept offensively so early on in this one. So they get the yellow. Leon reverses course, starts a build up. Sergi Palencia over on the right sideline. So that would be the west sideline. Goes to clear the ball, 55th minute. And I watched the play. I was watching Sergi every moment of the play. He went to clear it, landed, and immediately went to ground and turned right to Steve because he was 6 feet away from Steve and called for a sub immediately. He felt something. He went down. And to his credit, by the way, he was writhing on the ground in pain because he was actually in pain, you tool sheds from Leon. But what he did while he was in pain was roll himself off the pitch, so that our guys could still continue to battle with 10 men. He didn't need to get stretchered out because he had a cramp. He didn't get stretchered out. He rolled himself off the pitch, stayed there, hurt, while trainers worked on him and our guys battled with 10 men. Those are the kind of players that we have here. There
are words that I cannot use on this pod this evening out of respect for the kids and the families that want to make sure that this remains suitable for work. But as far as Leon goes, as tough as they played us and they were physical, Hello Kitty was tougher than some of these luchadores. It was aggravating. And it all begins obviously with that sequence with Chiqui Palacios. I was so freaking fuming seeing this. Like, I've never seen a stretcher come out, like you said, to pull somebody out who has a cramp. And it's just amazing how miraculously they resurrect off of said stretcher when they make it to the sideline. Like,
yeah,
what kind of a coward do you have to be to get stretchered off because your shoelace is untied? That's basically the magnitude of what these Leon players did. And there were things that happened. And yes, I'm very disgusted in saying this. There were some terrible LAFC supporters out there throwing beers at Leon. From the time the goal was scored, and there's a kid that you can see point blank on the corner throwing the beer who's sitting next to his girlfriend. I think he was wearing a white LAFC kit. Like, throwing the booze and the cups and the garbage at these players was uncalled for. But at the same time, I sympathize with the fact that it was just so aggravating to see these people just writhing in pain over nothing. This is where they played that mind game. This is where they won. They got into all of our heads and they used it to their advantage. And just like that, they freaking outplay us.
Yeah, but again, back to Sergi, I hope he's okay. Non-contact injuries are usually bad. And I don't believe he faced any contact on this injury. Ryan Hollingshead coming in the 56th minute for Sergi Palencia. And it's a bummer because I think Sergi has been one of the few bright spots for us. I know he had, He had a tough time when he went to ground and then got beat in the first match. Played pretty well in this match, and I think he's really earned himself some minutes moving forward. It's such a bummer, obviously, with the injury. Hopefully he can come back. Hopefully he's fine. Hopefully it's nothing super serious. I know we'll find out more tomorrow, likely. And then I'll be honest, from the 57th minute through the 65th, after we decided we need to make some subs, Leon took over our stadium. Leon took over the pitch. We looked so out of sorts, and all of a sudden you started to hear, ole, ole, ole. 15 passes. 15, I counted. 15 passes, and then at the end of it, they earn a corner. So what do? They milk the corner. 59th minute becomes the 60th minute. They don't get anything off the corner, but they keep possession. 61st minute, still controlling the ball. 62nd minute, we get the ball back for a second, but Mahala passes it right back to Leon. And I am watching Steve Cherundolo on the sideline, and Steve Cherundolo doesn't fume very often. He really doesn't. He was apoplectic for a little bit there at this point in the match. And for about 4 or 5 minutes, Leon took over BMO. It became Estadio Leon.
Blasphemy.
It was so frustrating to watch. And it has nothing to do, by the way, with what the 3252 were doing in the North End. That's not what I'm saying. But for all of you that were there, and maybe it picked up on television too, the Leon supporters got loud. The Olays came out. And for 5 minutes, 5 full minutes in a second half where we needed to battle back to get not 1, but 2 goals, we couldn't do a damn thing about it. So, and look, I appreciate what Steve Cherundolo is trying to do here. In the 63rd minute, I feel like he made his final play, right? He had to play the cards he was dealt. Stipe Buke, Timothy Tillman coming on for Carlos Vela and Ilie Sanchez, our 2 most veteran players. So we're going the last 27 minutes without our captain, without our midfield maestro, and we're bringing on Timothy Tillman, who's been great for us, sure, and Stipe Buke, who is still finding himself, and that's how we're going to try to win Concacaf Champions League down 2 goals.
Yeah, no. Another thing that happened in the 65th minute that didn't happen on the pitch, which I was stunned and shocked about, they stopped serving drinks in Founders. 65th minute. And I don't know if any of that was attributed to the fact that there were people out there like visibly throwing booze and garbage and trash out onto the pitch, but very disappointing. Now, I know those of you who wanted to complain about that, this is not an LAFC run event, FYI. Like a lot of these orders, this is a CONCACAF deal. So like blame Scotiabank and CONCACAF. And we saw the president wandering around Founders Club.
For a little bit, yep.
Very nondescript little man, and that's exactly what he was a tiny, skinny, I could fit you in my pocket, silver-haired little man. But yeah, frustrating to have spent the amount of money that one does in that section only to have a huge portion of the second half dry. Now, I say that from the vantage point of I've been only drinking water for the last 4 weeks. I have not engaged in the consumption of any adult beverages for a while. But I would have been visibly upset. And my wife was visibly upset. How do you just close things off in the 65th minute? Panda's literally at the bar, and the manager prevents her from getting to the bar. And they're like, look, we can't serve you anymore. Like, baffling. Anyway, that's just me on my soapbox. Move along.
Well, also in the 65th minute, we might have lost Aaron Long for a little while.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I knew it was bad when my father called me, and he goes, man, that's a lot of blood. We couldn't see it from our end in Founders, and I don't think anybody in the North End could really see it. If you were on the West End or the North End of the stadium, it wasn't easy to see. It was pretty far away. But when my dad calls me and goes, that is a heck of a lot of blood. I mean, we watched Aaron Long walk off, right? Full towel over his head, being helped off by 2 or 3 people. Again, our guys go off because one guy might have done some damage to his knee. The other split his head open. And is that the same guy they put a swim cap on for Leon? The guy who clashed heads with Aaron Long? Does that guy have a swim cap? I just more on that.
Well, the weird part is like and how does one do this? Like he put on a kit that didn't even have a number.
Well, that's I will definitely get to that in a minute.
That was funny. So he's got the swim cap for being a member of the Leon diving team.
Right.
And there are clubs out there throughout the world of football where they have multiple sports attached to them. Like Bayern Munich, for example, has got their own basketball team.
Sure.
People have several, like Real Madrid, Barcelona, they've got their own basketball team. So you got some of these professional football clubs that have multiple sports there. Right. I didn't realize that Leon brought their hybrids. I didn't realize it was the luchadores and the jugadores, and I don't know how to say swimmers and divers in Spanish. That'll be the next thing I need to learn, but kind of funny.
DM Philly, by the way, how to say swimmers or divers in Spanish. That'd be fun. I don't know when the next time we're going to see Aaron Long is, but I do want to give a little bit of an appreciation to Aaron Long for the way he's played in this tournament. He has been an excellent substitute for us and then starter for us. And when we went to 3 in the back, he was the first choice to play back there with Giorgio Chiellini and Jesus Murillo. And he's been great. He's been really solid for us. Obviously didn't have his best showing against Leon, but you can go up and down our roster and not a lot of guys had their best showing. But a player who I was so incredibly pleasantly surprised during these 2 legs against Leon comes on in the 69th giggity minute. And that would be Daniil Maldonado. I thought Daniil played very well. I thought that he still takes too many chances for my liking sometimes as a center back. But I liked Daniil Maldonado. I liked the way he played against Leon. I know we've got a little bit of work to do to figure out our center back pairing. But the way he played, he handled himself very, very well. And if you're a fan of the Honduras national team, you've got someone who is getting significant burn and having a very good account of himself for LAFC.
Sorry, I kind of in my own thoughts. Where are we? Oh, I mean, my note was just simply like the embarrassment of throwing crap down on the pitch.
Yeah. I mean, hey, why don't we go to the 74th minute, Philly, where they bring out a stretcher for another Leon player.
And that's all right. Yeah. So then that's what happens. Yeah. People are pissed off.
That whole sequence, man.
It was off. And then again, he miraculously resurrects off of the stretcher. The stretcher is just such a comical thing. It really is. But, I got to tell you, for those that listen to the show, and I hope some of you that threw garbage out on the pitch do, like, it takes a long time to put in the efforts and the work that a lot of people that are within this club and love this club. Like, it's a lot of hard work doing things, whether the people are out there on the supporters creating the tifos, all that other stuff, or everybody in the pod fam, or everybody that's a photographer, everybody that's like, we're trying to create one of the best atmospheres in just around, sure, Major League Soccer, but obviously we want to be recognized for the good stuff that happens, everywhere else. But then it just takes a couple of you knuckleheads throwing garbage at the players to kill this and tarnish everything that people are just working so hard and try to build. Like, from that perspective, be better. I get it. I'm as pissed as you. I'm swearing up a storm, but like, don't throw things out on the pitch. And the thing that was just even more odd was that nobody was addressing it. The public address announcer, who, by the way, he was a giant POS, like terrible at his job, absolutely horrendous at his job. No announcement saying, hey, don't throw on the field. Like, you're going to get ejected. I mean, we live in a society right now where, like, people just, they don't get punished for bad behavior. There is no remorse. There is no consequence. People can type whatever they want on social media without fear of any repercussions. People can go to a sporting event, yell at players, flip them off, throw stuff at them without fear of repercussion. That's not cool. And at what point did this become acceptable? I don't care what parts of the world you can do that in. Show some class and some respect. You're not any better than what's going on out on the pitch. You're a paying customer to witness somebody better than most people doing their job on the pitch. Don't throw things, for the love of God. Show a tiny bit of class. When you wear this, you represent us. The stupid crap that you do, the engaging in battles, the fighting, the just the nonsense that I see. You represent all of us. But I fail to admit that anybody out there that threw garbage at any of the Leon players, you don't represent me, and you don't represent our club. Just please be better. Don't do that. Sorry. 74th minute. That was my rant.
No, I love it. You're 2 rants in, and we're not even done with the game yet. I like it. This is good. It was such an interesting sequence, right? Because they bring the stretcher out, then Muri gets a yellow for losing his mind on the
Y'all wonder
referee.
why he was in for yellow card accumulation?
For allowing all this stuff to happen, Murray loses his mind, and then our fans in Fig lose their mind and throw all kinds of crap, and then another yellow, but this one on Leon for time wasting, and now we've gone 2 minutes, 2 whole minutes without the ball being put into play just because of all of this ridiculousness that is going on, and we were feeding into it. Murray being as pissed as he was, Cheeky being as pissed as he was, we're feeding into it. Guys, just back up. Let him put the ball back into play. We don't have much time. Come on. Let's go. And just not a lot, right? Just not a lot. Look, there were times where we got the ball from about the 75th minute. We really started to press, obviously, really started to press. We kept throwing bodies forward. Mahala was doing a wonderful job. 77th minute, he took the ball all the way to the touchline. Cheeky with the ball to Sifu in the 79th minute, who threaded a beautiful pass to Mahala, but again, couldn't quite finish. It was frustrating. And then in the 80th minute, I don't know who's running the scoreboard for Concacaf, but you guys are dumb. Watch the game. Denis hammers one. Absolutely hammers one. And everyone cheered for about a half a second until we realized, the ball went in the side netting, except on the big scoreboard, Concacaf puts up goal, and you're like, you guys are just idiots. Do better. It was just so frustrating, Philly. We're 80 minutes in, and we almost had a Philly goal in the 80th minute. Denny Bwanga trying to breathe some late life back into the match, back into the 2-legged tie, back into CONCACAF Champions League. The dreams, the hopes go into the side netting.
It was pretty funny, man. I mean, he created a chance that looked so good. He fooled so many people. Yeah, CONCACAF. I mean, they really did. And I just, it all starts at the top. And with this silver-haired, tiny little fits in my pocket man. Yeah, just a very run event from the PA announcer to, I mean, I love the little celebration thing that they had prior. Like that was kind of cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
The tickets are a bit pricey, but whatever. It is an international tournament. It's important.
Right.
But for anybody who was upset about things that sort of happened at the bank that were different than regular game day, for people that were questioning why you didn't get a chance to see Ali, or why you didn't get to see, hear Ecstasy of Gold or the starting lineups or all that other stuff, just keep in mind that even though we were hosting and we were the home team, this was a CONCACAF event, a Scotia Bank CONCACAF Champions League event. There was no LAFC people involved with this. So just an FYI in case you had your frustrations there. And I did, obviously, with the closing of the drinking line at the 65th minute.
Yeah, and we drew a free kick in the 81st minute with Stipe earning us a free kick, top of the box just to the left of goal. And as we're setting up for the free kick, bless you, I wanted to make sure I mentioned something in the 82nd minute. The North End, the 3252, started chanting Dale Black and Gold. And then the entire rest of the stadium, everybody in black and gold, started chanting right along with them the 82nd minute. It was the loudest I've heard the bank, because we all felt like in that moment, if we can just find some late magic, if we can get one, we can get a second one. And you felt the collective consciousness of the 3252 and the rest of the 22,000 that supported LAFC in that stadium. We all kind of threw our chips in the middle, right there in the end, the 82nd minute, and thought, all right, here's where we go. Here's where we push. And of course, LAFC earning a corner in the 84th minute. Now look, the referee clearly blew the whistle. The ball was not set for play, but it was a beautiful corner kick that Ryan Hollingshead found, but there was nobody marking him because nobody else was playing. But it was a perfect dress rehearsal. I mean, Hollingshead got to the ball, near post, beautiful header into the back of the goal for nothing because it didn't count. But at least maybe we saw it go into the back of the net, so we'll get to do it. And we took the corner, And like you mentioned, Leon's set piece defense, Leon's corner kick defense, everything was pretty spectacular today for Leon.
No, they played us very well from that perspective. Clearly, Larcamon saw plenty of footage of us in those scenarios and knew exactly what we do and who to look out for. I mean, we didn't really have too many. I mean, that was the best opportunity we had when we had a ball that was dead and we headed it in. So it's nice to know that, Kellen Acosta can thread that in, because that was questionable at points early on in the season. Was how good is his distribution from the corner? Because obviously we've now gotten accustomed to seeing Carlos Vela and Timothy Tillman do it. But, that's the case. Couple of minutes go by. Where are we here? Yeah, I mean, we're seeing more stretchers coming out for Leon players. This is where we saw Chiellini help his man off the stretcher. That was kind of cool. And then in the 90th minute, there was a yellow card, which is just a freaking ridiculous joke. And because of all the games and the shenanigans, we get 10 minutes worth of stoppage time. And, we've seen this before. I mean, you can go back to I remember when Manchester United beat Bayern Munich in the UEFA Champions League. I mean, it was kind of like that at the death. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer became a legend in that time. I mean, 10 minutes is all you need is a goal and Fergie time, as Manchester United supporters would indicate. Not all was dead. But then at one point, I think it was 2 minutes in, you had Fidel Ambrose, who had a phenomenal pass connecting with Victor Davila. And this kid was hungry. I'm surprised he didn't find the back of the net. He had a couple of shots that just went wide that we were talking about in the first half. He was a pest. But he's running into the box. Daniil Maldonado takes him out. And that play clearly looked like it was going to be a penalty. But we got lucky that he got called offside. So nothing is going, or John J. Mack isn't facing anybody from 12 yards because that play was offside. But a nice attempt, an ambitious and valiant effort by Fidel Ambrose. And then at one point, you have a couple minutes after that, a phenomenal pass and set up by Cheeky Palacios to Timothy Tillman. And, the German got his head on it, but unfortunately, the header went right into the hands of Kota.
I want to go back to that Daniil Maldonado play real quick. One of the reasons that Daniil was a pleasant surprise for me throughout this, I'm 99% positive that was a PK, right? He was called offside. But what I love about Daniil is he's picking up that PK for his club. He's picking up that PK for his club because he knows, hey, a ball that's not yet in the back of the net cannot count for a goal, right? So he took out and breathed something fierce. And maybe he tried to get shoulder to shoulder. Maybe it was a clean tackle in the box. All I know is if that were a pro referee, that would have been called pretty quickly for a penalty kick. I loved the hustle and the effort from Daniil Maldonado on that play. Whether he was offside or not, Daniil was going to take him out, and he was not going to score on Daniil's watch. It just reminded me of my basketball coach in 7th and 8th grade. No easy buckets coming down the lane. You make sure they feel you. You make sure they hammer you. Or you hammer them. That was exactly what Daniil Maldonado was doing. And you mentioned it, Philly, about, 6-7 minutes into stoppage time. The most Concacaf thing of the match is you have a player from Leon checking back in after he bled all over his second jersey. He is now wearing a swimming cap with a kit with no number on the back. If that's not the most Concacaf thing that you will possibly see in this match, there's a great Twitter follow. I have to find it, but it really does just highlight the most Concacaf things in soccer matches throughout Concacaf. If a player checking in wearing a diving cap and a jersey with no kit or with no kit number on it in the Concacaf Champions League final doesn't make that Twitter, shut down your Twitter. That's the most Concacaf thing that we've seen. I'm just going to end it with Jesus Murillo. I have something to say about Murray real quick because he had a ball. I don't know if we were at the 9th minute, 10th minute. They don't have the time going, so I don't know. But he tried to basically run through the entire Leon team on his own up over on the far side of the pitch there from us, and got through about 3 or 4 or 5 other guys until he had the ball taken away and he was kind of bodied off.
Oh, yeah.
And to see him down on the pitch, just so visibly frustrated. and then get right back up. And we got 2 more corners to end the match. LAFC was really just throwing everything forward. And on that very last corner that LAFC got, it was like a karate kick that Murray got his toe on. I don't know how the hell he did it, but he got his foot on it, bounced it up and over the bar in a microcosm of our entire 2-legged affair with Leon. But I just want to say, for Jesus David Maria, he played over 100 minutes tonight, if you count stoppage time. Never came off the pitch. There was one player out there that you could never question his effort, his intensity tonight. Not 1 second did Jesus David Maria take off in this match. He might not have been 100% perfect for the entire match, but he was 100% all in. Just pushed hard every single moment. I loved Jesus David Maria today. He played one of his better games, I think, in what was a huge moment. And I'm just proud to have that guy on our club, man.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly felt his loss in the past couple of games that we competed in without him. I mean, he's an integral part of that back line. He needs to be there in order to make us competitive. And you're right. I mean, what he did there, that's not anything that's going to end up on the stat report. It's not anything that's going to go reported. None of the pundits are going to give a hoot or talk about that. The kid certainly played his tail off. So if there's anybody to say bravo to, it would be him. Another player to say bravo to, obviously John McCarthy. And look, the whistle blows, and you said it earlier on in the pod, I've never left BMO Stadium so quick in my life. And we've been going here since April of 2018. Scarf and I practically saw every game during 2020, being members of the media and getting to watch them, fortunately, from like the view of the Sunset Club, which is where they've stuck all media people. Rarely, if ever, miss a match at BMO or the bank, for what it was called in the past. We darted out so quick because the idea of watching Leon celebrate on our pitch made me sick. I didn't need to puke green and bile. I watched it within the stands and I watched it on the pitch. I did not want to hear Leon fans supporting and high-fiving and being merry and joyful. Couldn't tolerate that. Did not want to stand being heckled, because at that point, like, I realized that, I was up to my wits, and like, I was going to be, a short fuse. I was going to say something, react, and I was going to do something if somebody came at me. I just was in no frame of mind to want to deal with it. So Panda and I left, and we made it home in 20 or so minutes, which is kind of rare. So that's what happens there. But talking about our boys again, you can't say they didn't put their efforts in. I mean, at the end of the first half, we're looking at 5 shots with 1 on target. Leon, 4 shots with 2 on target. Well, at the conclusion of the game, Leon only had 2 shots on target and had 3 more over the course of the next 45. We'll call it, no, actually, it'd be 55 minutes because of plus 10. LAFC went from 4 shots to 14 at the end of the game with a couple more on target. But where things are kind of wonky is the fact that, they had 75% or so in passing, but they really only had maybe like 100 extra passes over the course of the second half. They were sitting at 240 at the end of the first half. I think it was like three something and change at the end of the game. I'd have to go to FOTMob to verify. It was 322. Oh wait, accurate passes. Well, I mean, just passes. So they tried, but their passing was meh, Scarf. They, LA has a lot of traffic. LAFC kept passing the ball into traffic. Mahala would take his time, turn the ball over. Cheeky would turn the ball over. They just were not connecting properly. And we couldn't really do anything, but we also couldn't finish on the opportunities that we had. We certainly could have gotten into this game, but on the other side of the equation, that Victor Davila, it's been a couple of inches to the left. This game was over 35 minutes in, and that's it. But it's the hope, bro. They gave us hope, and I'm proud of our boys. Only the second MLS club to make it this far, but it's the hope that kills you. And this one is going to hurt and sting for quite a while. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, look, it was hard because we were outplayed for most of the 2 matches. Right? That's the bottom line. Whatever Nicholas Larcamon did to neutralize our threats, he did well, and his players executed and they played efficiently. That's the frustrating part. In my mind, Leon played the most efficient soccer I've seen against us in a while. It's not like they were bearing down on us with shot after shot after shot and chance after chance after chance. In fact, it was more like death by paper cuts than death by haymakers, because their first goal, came off a set piece that was just executed well. Tessio got up, happened to be on Timothy Tillman, but Tessio got up, made a perfect header. Their second goal came off of a sort of kind of fluky handball in the box that led to a PK that was executed perfectly. Their third goal, just as frustrating, where they're able to draw us out wide again, the exact trouble that we had with them so often in the first match. They drew us out wide, too much space created by Aaron Long, maybe a little bit of a confusion between Giorgio Chiellini and Sergi Palencia. And the one time in the entire tournament that John should have saved a ball and didn't, and it still didn't cost us. We didn't lose the game today because John had a soft goal. We lost the game because we didn't score. We lost the game because whatever Nicolas Larcamon wanted to do to stifle our offense worked. All of it. And so at the end of the day, you don't ever have to be graceful in defeat, right? You could be pissed. You could throw stuff on the pitch. You can do whatever. But
I don't know about throwing stuff on the pitch, Scar.
No, but I'm saying people will do that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying people should just be walking out of BMO going, oh, that sucked, we lost, and then that's it. Sometimes people feel like they got to do stupid things. But what you're not going to be able to do is to watch the 200 minutes or so that these two teams played against each other and not see that Leon was the better team. They were. I'm sorry. They outplayed us. They out-executed us for most of the tournament. Yes, we created big chances. We couldn't finish them. We did earn something called the Fair Play Award, which is apparently in recognition of the exemplary behavior that promoted the spirit of fair play and compassion in the 2023 Scotiabank Concacaf Champions League.
Did that come with orange slices? Like, give me a break. Who gives a crap?
It's the first award like I said, Philly, I stayed and watched the whole thing.
That's not all you did. Apparently you lost a bet that I was unaware of.
Yeah, I bet a guy for his Leon scarf or my LAFC scarf. It sucked. But I gave up a scarf, so it's fine. We're promoting LAFC around the world.
Jeez, that might be worse to you emotionally than us losing the game.
No, this was bad. Fidel Ambris got the Young Player Award. Philly, I was shocked to find out you and I are no longer eligible for Young Player Awards.
Yeah, we're closer to the ARP discount than the Young Player Award.
John McCarthy earning the Best Keeper Award for the tournament.
4 clean sheets.
Denny Bawanga earning the Top Scorer Award for the tournament, 7 goals. And Victor Davila for Leon earning the Best Player Award. 2 fun facts that I'll throw out at you, Philly, and then I'm done talking about this, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Fun fact, Giorgio Chiellini became the first player to start both the CONCACAF Champions League final and the UEFA Champions League final, having done so with Juve in 2017. Further, the reason that I love Giorgio Chiellini. Philly, we've played 13 Champions League matches in our club's history. 13. They've been bookended by our only 2 shutouts. We've never been shut out by any team that is not named Leon. Our first ever CONCACAF Champions League match was a 2-0 shutout loss to them, obviously in Leon. I was there. And this match, 1-0 loss to Leon at BMO, are the only 2 times that LAFC has ever been shut out in a CONCACAF Champions League match. So I'll post this question out. I know I threw one out earlier in the pod. I'll throw this one out. Are we rivals with Leon now? Or do you have to beat a team in the moment like this to be able to, I don't know. I don't know if that we're rivals or we've just played them 4 times now, so we feel like we know them a little better. But Philly, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done.
Well, It's funny the statistic you brought up about Giorgio Chiellini being the only player to start the UEFA Champions League final and the Concacaf Champions League final. I got something additional to throw onto that. While he started both finals, Giorgio Chiellini also lost in both finals, 4-1 to Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo in 2017, and then on aggregate, 3-1 to Leon. So Giorgio Chiellini, if and when we make Champions League final again and you're still with our team, maybe don't start. I don't know. Obviously, no, that doesn't matter. Coincidences, completely unrelated events.
Don't talk about my boy that way.
No, I love Giorgio. Look, I just want to say this. Like, as rough of a day as this was, the tifo was incredible. The energy in the building was incredible. There were moments like the game and the throwing crap on the pitch that I didn't like, but I really enjoyed getting to meet the people that we got to meet today. We got to take photo with our new good buddies, Ezra and Isaac, courtesy of Becca. Thank you. We got to meet, I met Jerry, I met Joe, and forgive me, I met you and you were super kind. There was a supporter that came up from Houston. It was his first LAFC game, and he came up to chat with us about how he listens from afar and how he loves LAFC and everything. And he just so kind. Like, it's moments like that, like saying hi to Heath Pierce as we're chatting with Joshua Johnson down like right by the by LAFC HQ. I mean, that's where I get my joy so much in going to BMO, because it's amazing getting to hang out and meet the millions
and millions
of LAFC supporters and defenders of the bank listeners. And like, I take these losses to heart, not because of just our team losing. Obviously a big part of that because of our team losing, but like I think of each and every one of y'all. We're all in this together. We all celebrate together. We're all jovial together. We all mourn, get angry, bitter. We cry together. It's the connection that we have. And like, for those who aren't a part of this, like, if you don't understand, if you're not one of us, you won't understand. I think that's the saying. Like, that's where this is where I get the love of this club from. Not only because it helped me assimilate, me and Panda, into the city of Los Angeles in a way that I will forever be grateful for, but like, just the connections from the people all the way up at the top, the owners, down to the front office, down to the sales staff, down to the players and the coaching staff, down to the supporters and the fans. Like, I love this club because of all of you that make it up. And this is like why it pains me so much, because I want us to all celebrate together. But unfortunately, there's the other side of the equation, and you can't get the rainbow without the rain. So those two, unfortunately, have to coexist, but I prefer more sunshine and rainbows than I ever would cloudy days and rain. So I love each and every one of you, and I just want to say to everybody that I got to meet that I didn't acknowledge today, I apologize, but thank you so much. Y'all ever see us, please just stop by. We're never too busy to ever say hi to anybody. I implore you, stop us. If I haven't seen you before, or Scarf, say hi. If we have, say hi. Never feel like you can't say anything to us, because y'all give us this love and support, and that's what makes us stay up and do this. I mean, only recently did we start getting paid, but we didn't start this for any other reason other than we love this club. And then, you guys started listening to us. So you keep listening and supporting. We'll keep making it out. So that's my my spiel. I love y'all, and I feel with you. I'm in pain with you tonight. And hopefully we get to celebrate together on Wednesday. Now I'm done.
Philly keeps bringing up the paycheck. I'm still waiting to see it at this point. But
well, you just sent the invoice 2 weeks ago, so
And I'm going to feel bad if I get this wrong. I believe Darren from Houston is his name. I believe. I'm going to feel really bad if I get it wrong. But it was really nice to see him. It was his first match out at BMO today. Black and gold through and through, despite him living in Houston. So we really
does only have the Dynamo to support down there. Like, that's I'd prefer a team far away if I lived in Houston.
It's got the dash. They've also got the dash. Don't forget about the dash. Heather's daughters were the cutest things ever. Just want to give a quick shout out to Heather's daughters. I'm blanking on her older daughter's name, but all I know is I got the most genuine hug I've received of the last couple of months or so from this was a perfect stranger who I had never met, 4 years old. And she hadn't met me yet, but she hugged me as hard as I have ever been hugged before. And it was the most genuine, cutest thing in the entire world. And look, I love working with children. It's my passion. It's what I do. I've been a teacher now, good Lord, for over half my life, which is a crazy thing to think about, because I don't think I've done anything else well for an entire half of my life. And I'm doing this one as well as I possibly can. And so, look, for all the kids out there that are listening to this podcast, first of all, I appreciate you, but it's late. Go to bed. But also, being a supporter of this club means that there are going to be days like this, days where you leave the stadium not upset that you lost, but heartbroken and absolutely riddled with the frustration that was palpable over the last 180 minutes. It is a deeper feeling. And the hardest thing to do, if you're a young person out there, is to stay through those types of feelings. There are so many football clubs out there. There are so many sports teams out there. There are so many other avenues out there where you might pick a winner and stick with them for a while, but then maybe you jump to the next one and jump to the next one and jump to the next one. Don't do what I do just because I was a Tom Brady supporter. Don't do what I do just because I enjoyed watching, Alabama play really good football for all those years. Do what we do with LAFC. Hitch your wagon to this star and know that this is a club that has your best interest at heart, that represents your city. Or maybe if you're like our friend Darren, and I really hope I get it right, it's not even his city that he's currently living in, but he knows what this club stands for. He knows what this club represents. We are supporters of an incredibly aspirational club. There are 28 other clubs in Major League Soccer that would have traded the rest of their season to trade places with us today. That's 100% true. Every single one of those clubs. This isn't a chance for us to bang on the Galaxy for being 29th. This is a chance for us to look into the mirror and say, thank God that we are supporters of a club that is so not just genuinely aspirational, but a club that has been able to be on the world stage and executing as well as they have been for the last 6 years. It's one thing to want to be something. It's another thing to be able to actualize yourself to get there. And our club has been a very, very special one. So, all right, Philly, we're wrapping this up.
Yeah, I'm done. I think I've exercised the demons. I've got nothing. We'll be back here again in just a couple of short days. In fact, if you were at BMO today and you'll be there tomorrow for Angel City, we will too. So stop and say hi. Then Tuesday is a rare day off, and then back again to BMO as we square off against Atlanta United. Now we're really going to get to see what this team is made from, because it's going to be tough coming back off of a loss like this. So that's really going to test the intestinal fortitude of our boys. But if you listen to the press conference that Steve had that I posted on YouTube, you get the feeling that, yes, it's disappointing, but hey, even though U.S. Open Cup, that doesn't exist for us anymore. Even though the Concacaf Champions League, that doesn't exist anymore. Still have MLS Cup, the Supporters Shield, the Leagues Cup, and the Campeones Cup. So, hey, we got a bunch more things to do. Plenty of business left in our lives.
Yeah, I'm expecting a heavily rotated lineup against Atlanta on Wednesday. I got to be honest. I think he's just going to give some of the boys a little bit of a rest. Although I do expect to see more of Murillo and Chiellini and these guys to get themselves match fit again. Hopefully, Aaron Long.
The Chiellini jersey I bought you on Wednesday.
Absolutely, I will do that. Hopefully, Aaron Long is okay. Hopefully, Sergei Palencia is okay. And hopefully, all of you out there who have listened to episode 255 are okay for the evening. With that, you guys know how we like to end all of our episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.